Hello, hi, beautiful people. Welcome to What's Up with Upcult. We have Willie Board with us. He's an educationist, runs three schools and colleges, co-founder of Alt, an alternate investment asset management company. He has led workshops and keynotes over 500,000 plus schools, leaders across India's and education, leadership, and school development. He's a visionary when it comes to education and education community management and development in India. So we'll start with Willie on I'll be asking you a few questions, Philly. So, what was your struggle before you met Anurag sir?
I think before I met Anuran, what I've actually felt is I thought I knew everything about digital marketing. And because, like when you think you know everything about digital marketing, you start thinking that you don't need to learn anything. And for a big part of the past 5 years, I thought that digital marketing was basically just taking a big hoarding and putting it on the internet. That's all I thought it was. But because of the lockdown, I had the opportunity to spend a little more time deep diving into things that I think I should have just, scratched a little more. And I found Anuran, and I was really, really impressed by his energy and his enthusiasm. And, usually you want to just try everything. And he had me hooked in the first 5 minutes. And that's why I went ahead and just, signed up with him. And I have learned a lot from him.
On that note, my next question would be like, how did you came across Anurag sir?
I've come across his content on the internet. I also found him via some WhatsApp group that I think was very interesting, because the minute I saw that WhatsApp group, I wanted to enter that WhatsApp group, and I saw a lot of activity that was happening there, and I could quickly see that there is a lot of value in what was being shared and discussed with openness and sincerity.
So, like when you came across Anurag sir, were there any doubts on whether should I join Anurag or not? Like, what were the doubts and how you overcome all of that?
I don't think I had any real doubts, because what I had noticed, I had seen a lot of digital educators, digital marketing educators, and there are not many if you really go about looking and scouting. And what I saw with Anuran was his personal connect, his personal touch, the way he was understanding your personal problem and then trying to find a solution for that. What I really admire and respect about him is he understands that not everything can be sold digitally. And upfront, he tells you that this is not something that needs to be sold digitally, but he doesn't stop the conversation there. He then goes ahead and tell you, what you need to do to sell the product, right? And that is a true marketer. I think he understands marketing first, and then, has learned to beautifully combine marketing and digital technologies together. So yeah, I was very happy with the decision I took.
So yeah, like how is life doing after associating with Anurag sir?
I think the more the more you know that there is more to know, right? Yeah. So I think with Anurag, what I'm really seeing is that I'm learning so much about things that I did not know existed, and that allowed me to then have a lot of questions, start different projects. And what I've learned so much from Anuran is you got to keep trying, you got to keep testing different things, because you never know what really works, not because you're not sure of the strategy, just because your market may be responding to something differently at this point in time. So much of this has got to do with the way people feel, the way people think, what's the general macro economic system that is going around, and our ability to quickly find what people want, what do they value, and then how can we serve them. I think that is something that I've learned really well, because what I've seen is a lot of people say, oh, हमने Facebook marketing किया, digital marketing किया, पैसा waste किया, but कुछ हुआ नहीं. But the point is, did you try again and again and again and again? That's how we learn to cycle. That's how we learn to walk. That's how we learn to dance. You just have to keep making mistakes, and then slowly and steadily you make different mistakes, or you start making lesser and lesser mistakes. That is the road to mastery, and that is something I picked up from it.
So, like, how was your experience with the community support?
I think the community is fairly active, very engaged. There's a committed bunch of people who are at the other end of a WhatsApp call or a WhatsApp group, and I kind of see that it's not just always about selling. It's also about learning. It's about sharing. It's about connecting. It's about really understanding what people want to do. I think I see a very investigative sort of approach. It's Anuran is more like a doctor. He's trying to identify what the problem is and then try to give you a solution. Whether you want to buy it or no, that's a different matter altogether. I think that kind of passion allows somebody to, figure solutions out.
So like you're from the education field. So how do you think like metaverse will be like it good in future for the education in
There are a
general?
lot of over the past 10 years, there have been lots of technologies that came in, and I have been slightly slower to get into technology. If you read it in the newspapers, it's already late, right? And there is always this gap between when you're trying to do something new, when you're trying to learn something new, you don't get a lot of people who are also doing that, and chances are everybody you talk to haven't heard of it, or they just discount it. So now that I've heard of metaverse and I've heard of these technologies, AR, VR, and things like that, and again, I was asking myself, am I just discounting it, or have I really given it a go? Right. And that's when I realized that there is ample opportunity. There are a lot of things that I do not know. And the world is changing, right? Millennials today, a 20-year-old does not think like a 20-year-old 20 years ago, So one really has to start thinking about how we can stay relevant, how we can not just enjoy the benefits of new technologies, but also how we can co-create that. How can we be more participative or more animated within that ecosystem? And I think that is something that I am willing to do, especially with metaverse, and especially with metaverse in education, because I think there's a lot of opportunity that children in, let's say, low-income schools or low-income communities, or children with less resources, or children who don't have access to, let's say, high-quality schools. And there are so many such children and communities in India. Is there a way, if they don't have access to a high-quality school, do they have access to a high-quality internet connection? And then using that, are they able to then feel more included in high quality educational experiences, because it's the education that's going to make a big difference in their lives. And that's why I'm looking at it.
So let's come on to the last question that I have. Like, what is the main reason you would like to recommend Upcult to others?
I would feel that it's a young company. It's an energetic company. They know what they're doing. What they don't know, they're learning. That's the most important thing. There are a whole lot of people who are just selling what they have. I think Upcult is selling what they have, learning what they don't know, learning together, and creating a community of engaged learners who are doing various experiments across the digital marketing ecosystem, across different assets, across different industries. So a team like Upcult is definitely on its way to growth, because the Upcult team understands, or at least spends a lot of time trying to understand your problem, and they start using all their skills in order to find your solution. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that the amount of different skills that are required. Digital marketing is not just one ad, it's the whole life cycle. And having somebody who understands how that data flows, understands how things get integrated, understands what do people actually need, how do you communicate, every little thing has to be crafted with love and with detail and with strategy. So that's why I feel that working with Upcult is going to be a good experience, and one should really try it. Why go to places which are oversubscribed when you can go to places who are going to oversubscribe in you as a client and as an individual? And I think what we all learn from is relationships and people, and that is something that we want to. That is something that I feel that Upcult can do. Don't get tricked into building a relationship with something online which only gives you the illusion of interaction. But I think Team Upcult, being small, and not just small, being the right size is what I would feel. Being the right size allows engagement and individual interaction with every client. So I'm
definitely Upcult is going to handhold all its mentees and members to their success. Yes. It was really good talking to you, Willie. So we're playing this. And
thank you.
Thank you.
And all the best.
All the best for all your adventures.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.